Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. So in today's video we're going to be carrying on with this page from Rita Berman's book. So we thought we'd go ahead and do this one in the middle today. So I'm going to go ahead and zoom you in and we'll get started. So the first colour I'm going to go in with is Turmeric Yellow, and I'm going to use this to fill in this little sand area down here, because I'm guessing this would be like a sandy bank. So I thought we would make this look like some sand. So I'm using the Arteza's 120 set again today, guys, just in case you're wondering. I think I forgot to actually mention that last time, so I'm sorry about that. But yeah, you could see which pencils I was using, but I did put it in the title. I just forgot to mention it whilst I was colouring, so just had a little forgetful moment there. And I'm using a new camera for the first time today, so you guys will have to let me know if the quality's any better, if you can see the image a bit more clearly, or if it's worse than it normally is. Let me know, and I can always go back to my other camera. So I just thought I'd try this out and see if it's any better for you guys. Next I'm going to go in with Camel Brown. So this is going to act as our shade colour for the sand. So I'm going to go ahead and darken up the edges where it would be in contact with the water, because that's where it would be a little bit darker. So I'm going to follow this all the way around the water edge. And do the same for this side. And then I'm just going to add a bit more colour, but with less pressure, just to blend this colour down and into the yellow. And we'll do the same for this side. And then going back in with Turmeric Yellow, I'm just going to go ahead and blend this all together. So just add a little bit more pressure and just go over this to make it blend a little bit easier. If you want to leave little bits at the bottom where it's really light, you can just leave them bits out. So it's just got the original light layer of colour that we put on there. Next I'm going to go in with Forest Green, and I'm just going to fill in the leaves on these little palm trees here. So they're quite tiny, so I'm just going to fill them in so that they're nice and dark green. Next I'm going to go in with Sapphire Blue, and I'm going to use this to make a start on the water. So this is going to be our lightest colour. So what I'm going to do is just do a base coat all over with light pressure, just so that we can get a bit of this colour down, and then we can add in some shadows, and then we can always use a bit more harder pressure with this to fill in a bit more afterwards. If you guys can hear lots of banging around, it's because it's super windy today here in the UK for some reason. We went from lovely sunny weather to it's sunny, but it's very windy today, so it's a bit different to what it was the other day. But no 2 days are ever the same. If any of you guys live in England, you'll know what the weather's like and how often it changes. Okay, and then we're going to go in with Blueberry Blue. So this is a darker blue, and we're going to start to add some shade to our water. So I'm going to run the shade along this edge here first, because I want this side to be darker. So I'm just following it really close to the edge and taking it right up to the sand. I'm also going to darken up this side here and sort of over these lines, just exaggerate them a little bit more. So we'll go ahead and darken up a little bit down here as well. And now I'm just going to lift the pressure so that I can blend this out with the other colour a little bit easier. So I'm just using light pressure and sort of circular motions now just to go round this and kind of blur it out almost. And then I'm just going to run this really close to this edge here because I don't want it to be all dark blue. So I'm just going to get it as close to this edge as I can. And then lift the pressure off to just slightly blur this line out. Then I'm going to go back in with Sapphire Blue and I'm going to go over where we left the lighter pressure. Now again, I'm still only using light pressure with this because I'm not sure if it's going to be too dark. So I just want to sort of test it and see how it looks. So I'm just going to go over where we've added the darker blue first. Just make sure that we've got them lines blended out quite nicely. And then for this side, I'm going to go in with normal pressure and just sort of take it over the darker blue, just so that we can make sure this is the darkest edge. We'll go around these little waves and then just lift the pressure to blend this up. So I want to try and make like a lighter patch here where the fish are coming through so that they really stand out. I'm just going to go back in with Blueberry Blue and just add a little more colour to our shadows in the centre. And a little bit more down here. And then I'm going to take Ocean Blue and I'm going to use this to go over this lighter section, so it's going to have more of a green glow. So I've never done this before, so we will see how it comes out. Hopefully it will look all right. I'm going to take it over the blue that we've added so that it all blends nicely together, and just go ahead and fill in all of the lighter space that we've got left. Okay, so next I'm going to go back in with blueberry and I'm going to do the same for this side. So I'm going to start by darkening up the edges. Then going in with Sapphire Blue to blend them out. And then going back in with Ocean Blue to fill in the middle. Okay, and then sticking with Ocean Blue, I'm going to add the highlights to these waves here. So I'm just going to go ahead and fill in the very top sort of curling edges. And I'll do the same for this one. Just to add a little bit of brightness to these. Then I'm going to go in with Sapphire Blue and I'm going to go ahead and fill in some of these gaps in between. And then I'm going to go back in with Blueberry Blue, which is our darkest colour, and just fill in this section here. Okay, next we're going to move on to this land here, and I've chosen pear green because I want to do some different coloured greens in here. I don't want it all to be the same colour. So I'm going to select which bits I want to be green. So I think I'm going to start with this little sort of field here and fill this in with pear green. Then I'm going to go in with spring green, and I think I'm going to do this section of land here in the spring green. So again, I'm just going to go ahead and add this colour in, and I'm still using light pressure for this, so I can see where the colours are going to be, how it's looking, and if I like it. Okay, I think that looks quite nice. So I'm going to add some of this spring green here as well to this background grass. Okay, and then next I've got amethyst green, so I'm going to go ahead and add some of that in. So I think I'm going to use this for these sort of like tree looking things here. So go ahead and fill these in. So I want it to be all different greens so that everything sort of stands out on its own. Okay, and then I think we'll add some of this amethyst green, absinthe green over here as well. Take it up the backs of these mountains and down here. And then I'm going to go back in with pear green and just fill in this little section here to break up the greens. Next I'm going to go in with forest green and I'm going to add some really dark green to these little fern looking trees. So I'm just going to fill them in diagonally side to side. Okay, next I'm going to go in with apple green and I'm going to use this to shade where I've added the spring green. So I'm going to go ahead and add a little bit of shade on these edges here and darken that up a little bit. I think we'll take it behind the house as well, so it's almost like the house is casting a little bit of a shadow out onto the ground. I'm going to darken up all this little section here because I feel like that would be a little bit darker. We'll have some shade here from these trees. And we'll do a little bit of shade under these little ferns. And then going back in with spring green, just going to go ahead and get rid of any harsh lines. Okay, so I'm going to go back in with apple green and I'm going to do the same for this top section up here. So I'm going to add some shade in. So I'm going to darken up under here. And underneath these trees here would be darker. And then we'll just run the darkness all the way along the bottom edge. Like so. And then I'm just going to go over that with spring green just to blend it out a little bit easier. Next I'm going to go in with crimson red and I'm going to make a start on our little lighthouse because I wanted him to be red because I don't know why I always assume lighthouses to be like red and grey. So I'm just going to do each little section. Then I'm going to go in with Dolphin Gray and go ahead and fill in the other parts of the lighthouse. And I do this little house to match as well, so I'm going to give it a grey roof and door. And then we'll fill in the house itself with the crimson red. Then I'm going to go back in with Turmeric Yellow, which we used for the sand, and I'm just going to go ahead and do a really light glow coming out of this lighthouse so that we can see that the lighthouse is on and it's glowing. And then I'm going to go in with Sky Blue and start to add some sky in. So I'm just going to go up to the yellow and slightly over it with the blue, but again I'm just using light pressure so that it doesn't like turn a mucky colour. And I'm going to do the same all the way around the edge where we've just left the yellow. These are going to be dark green, so I might just fill them in now actually. So I'll go in with forest green and fill these in so that we know where we're going to put the blue. So I'm going to go back in with the sky blue now and continue adding some of this colour into the sky. Okay, next we're going to use Ube Purple and add some purple into this sky. So I'm just going to randomly place it where I want it to be. So I'm going to put it here by these trees. And then I'm going to go back in with sky blue and add some more blue to this. So I'm just going to do a little bit more pressure on here now and blend this all together. Then I'm going to go back in with Turmeric Yellow and just go over where we've added the light source, just to make that a little bit more vibrant now we've added the blue in. And then for these mountains in the background, I want to do them like a grey colour. So I'm going to go in with Dolphin Gray and I'm just going to focus this on the bottoms of them because I'm going to go over the tops with a Posca pen so it looks like they've got a little bit of snow on the top of the mountains. And then I'm going to take Elephant Grey and just darken up the bottoms of the mountains so that they look darker the further down that we get. Next, I'm going to go in with Wine Red and I'm going to go ahead and fill in all of these little berries on the trees. So I'm just going to fill them in completely because they're very small. Then I'm going to take Forest Green and go ahead and fill these ones in because I want these ones to be the darkest so that the red really pops on them. Then taking dark chocolate brown, I'm going to go ahead and fill in the tree trunks. And I'm going to use this to do all of the tree trunks. That's all we've got, these little pine trees down here. Just put a little bit of brown onto them. Next, I'm going to use olive green and I'm going to do the little round trees in the olive green. So I'm just going to go ahead and fill them in completely. Next, I'm going to take moss green and I'm going to add some shade to this section of the grass here. So I'm going to start by adding some down on this edge just to darken this up a little bit. And then at the bottom of these little hills, I'm going to add a bit of shade. And then just lift the pressure again to blend that out. And I'm also going to use the moss green to go over these lines and just add a little bit of texture into this grass here. Just do a bit of shade under the trees. And then going in with absinthe green, I'm going to go ahead and add some darker shade to this part here. So I'm just going to shade like the little edges of these sort of tree features, just to make this stand out a little bit so it doesn't all look one big patch of green. Then going back in with spring green, I'm just going to go ahead and fill in this little section here that I missed. And then I'm just going to add a little bit more colour to this. This little bit here I'm going to do a sand, so I'm going to go in with the Turmeric Yellow again and put a base coat on there. And then with Camel Brown I'm going to go ahead and add the shadow. Okay guys, so next we're going to go in with Fuchsia, and I think I'm going to use this to do the houses themselves so that we've got some nice bright colour in this picture, because so far it's all looking very green and blue. And I'll do the same for this little one here. And this one. And the base of these two. Sticking with Turmeric Yellow for our light source, and we're going to go ahead and fill in the windows with Turmeric Yellow. Then going in with Ube, I'm going to make a start on the roof. So for this one here, I'm going to just fill this in with this colour. And the same for this one because it's quite small. For this one, I'm going to darken up the edges. And then just push the colour in towards the middle and leave a light patch in the middle. So I'm going to do the same for this one, darken up both the edges and then leave the lighter patch in the middle. This one I'm going to darken up on this side and then go to lighter pressure at the other end. We'll fill in the little balls on the top. Next I'm going to take our white pencil and I'm going to go ahead and go over where we've left the lighter colour in the middle there, and here where we've left the lighter pressure, just to blend that all together nicely. Then I'm going to go in with dark chocolate brown and just fill in this little fence here. And then I think we should do the fish pink and purple so that they match the houses. So I'm going to go in with Ube Purple first, and I think I'll do their heads and their tails. Then going in with Fuchsia, I'm going to go ahead and fill in the bodies. And then for the ship, we're going to do it red and grey so it matches the lighthouse. So I'm going to use Dolphin Gray And I'm going to do a base coat on the bottom section here. And then this top section here. And these little pipes. Then with Crimson Red, I'm going to go ahead and do this line along here. And this top line here. Then taking Elephant Grey, which is our shade colour, I'm going to go ahead and shade this bit in down here because this would be in shadow from the waves and everything like that. And then we'll add a little bit of shade down here. And then just underneath these windows, like so. And then we'll go back in with Turmeric Yellow and fill in the windows. Okay, you guys, that's how it's looking at the moment. So I'm going to do the same as what I did for the other one. So I'm going to go in with Turmeric Yellow and make a start on filling in this edge here. So I'm just going to fill it in where we've got this yellow colour. And I'm just going to do this with normal pressure. And then lift off the pressure where you've got to blend it into the other colour. Okay, so for the sea, I'm going to go in with Blueberry Blue because we left the darker shade around the edges. So I'm going to go ahead and fill this in with the darker shade. And I'm just going to take it over the yellow ever so slightly, but use light pressure for that. And then you can just use normal pressure to fill in the rest. Then to blend that out a bit better, I'm just going to go over that with Turmeric Yellow. Okay, so next we're going to need a little bit of spring green. So I'm going to go ahead and add that into here. Then Ube Purple, because we've got some purple in the sky here. And some purple here. And then the rest is going to be sky blue. I'm going to go over that purple blue there as well. And then go back over that with the green. And then I'm going to continue with the sky blue all the way around. Okay, now it's time for the fun part. So I've got my Posca pen and I'm going to start to add some highlights. So I'm going to go around the edge of the water because I like to make it look like the water's got like a little bit of a breaking edge on it. So I'm just going to go ahead and go over this and try and make it like a little bit of a squiggly line rather than a straight line, just so that it looks like the water is actually breaking onto the land. And I'm going to add some highlights to the water. And then I'm going to add some highlights to these trees and onto these roofs where we left the lighter patches. Then for these mountains, I want to try and make them look like they've got snow on. So I'm going to go ahead and just use the Posca pen to add a little bit of snow detail to them. So you just want to sort of cover up the lines and then just bring the Posca pen down so that it looks like the snow's coming down. Yeah, I'm going to add a highlight on that where the light would be coming out. We'll just add a little light shine with the white Posca. Okay, you guys, so that's how this little picture turned out. So I hope you enjoyed this video, and I will see you in the next one.